my first film that I was signed for was by Mr. J.P. Dutta. It was a film called Aakhri Mughal, which was based on a fictitious story about Bahadur Shah Zafar and his son, Mirza Mughal. I was going to play Mirza Mughal and the great Dilip Kumar Saab was going to play Bahadur Shah Zafar. But that film never got made, sadly. So actually the first actress I ever did a screen test, did an audition with was Bipasha. I remember it was in Kamalistan Studios and JP Saab wanted to screen test me and Bipasha. Bipasha was a huge model in those days.
Yes.
And being Bengali, he wanted her to play a Bangladeshi refugee. When you go into a meeting and not one but several directors say, thanks but no thanks. And very politely, none of them were rude. And I didn't understand then, I understood once I signed Refugee, that they all said, we don't want the responsibility of launching Mr. Amitabh Bachchan's son. My films weren't working. I had worked with everyone. I'd worked with directors that in their last films had given blockbuster films. I was advised, okay, work with this person. I'd listened to everybody and it just wasn't happening. And I'd lost confidence. So I said, maybe I'm not meant to be here. Maybe I should be doing something else. I tried. Dad, I gave it my best. I tried. But you have to accept the reality sometimes. Family to me is the most important thing. And I say it with utmost pride. Nothing comes ahead of my family thing. It was, I think, at Zanin train station, which is right next to Stad. It was the first time I saw her in person. I mean, we'd obviously seen her during Miss World and all that. She tells me, she said she didn't understand a word of what I was saying because I had a very heavy accent apparently. Yeah. I was out of this British boarding school. She's like, hello, how are you? Yeah. It was like, freak. And I tell Aaradhya that also. I remember the night she was born, she used to literally fit on my forearm. Her head was in like that. And to see these guys, they've become giants now. Aaradhya is taller than Aishwarya.
It's so difficult sometimes to introduce the person I'm sitting with. Not because I can't, but if you go and see any of his interviews, in fact, one of the interviews that I did earlier this year, and it was such a beautiful interview, and if you read the comments, you will know that there's so much of love and warmth that he gets from people, because I think he's somebody who gives love and warmth himself. And celebrating a journey that has lasted so long and to many, many more years of entertainment and just love, warmth and so much more respect to you. AB, I love you. I can't begin this without saying that we all love you so much. How do you take the love? Thank you for doing this for Nayan Sense.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Finally.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. But thank you. That was very sweet of you.
No, I just think that if you go and, have you read those comments? Like when you're doing interviews, if you read the comments, oh my God, everybody.
Oh really? I should then.
You have to, I'll send you all the links.
I should, yeah. A couple of years ago, I stopped reading comments because I just felt they were getting, they unnecessarily affect you.
Yeah.
For the good or for the bad. But I'll go and read them. Yeah.
Absolutely, I'll send you some. But it's been such a huge journey. It's been challenging, it's been liberating, it's been, fruitful. If you go back and look at the time you started way before you actually got your debut film, because you actually started as a production assistant, right? And you didn't have it easy. You actually started by doing possibly the most odd jobs on a film set. What were the films that you actually worked on as a production assistant? When
I started, I was basically somebody who would just be sent wherever and whenever needed. My father had a production, they started a corporation. In fact, India's first film corporation called Amitabh Bachchan Corporation Limited.
ABCL, yeah.
Yes, and we had several films under production. And at that point of time, wherever I was required, I would go. So if that meant on days, be a driver and go pick up some of the cast for Tere Mere Sapne, like Arshad and Simran and Priya Gill and Chandrachud, I'd do that. Sometimes if it meant going and helping, deliver the food, the tiffins, I'd do that. If messages had to be delivered here and there, I'd do that. They were all odd jobs. The first film that I actually worked full-time on was Major Saab, which was directed by Mr. Tinu Anand. So Tinu Uncle is somebody I've known all my life, very, very dear friend of my father's. They've done wonderful work together. And Kalia happens to be one of my favorite films of his. And he's always been very close to me and very fond. But when I came on as a production boy, the first week I was just making tea. And in those days, we used to have these huge lorries that used to travel with all the stuff. And the tea guy was part of the spot team. And they would sit inside the lorry, put that flap down, and on those push stoves like that, kerosene stoves, we used to make the tea. So I used to do that, and then slowly learned the ropes in production, doing everything from carrying lights to laying cable to again picking up and dropping off people, all odd jobs. And then with that, obviously, I was so interested in filmmaking, and in that aspect, as working on a set, I had not really done that on.
Yeah.
I'd been with my dad and watched how films were made. Then, wanted to learn more about the technicalities of it. So, Tino uncle very sweetly took me under his wing. And him and Ajay really taught me pretty much all I know about cinema and filmmaking. From camera angles to continuity, to editing, to sound design, to sound mixing, all of it. So I used to do whatever he needed me to do. And worked my way up as I'd like to believe as an assistant, and yeah.
And Ajay sir still looks at you like a younger brother. Like even when he speaks about you off camera, on camera, he will always speak about those days, because I think, you guys went on a show, if I'm not mistaken, you, Ajay sir and Sanjay sir together, when you did an interview with Sajid.
Yeah, with Riteish and Sajid,
Yeah, and it was so beautiful to live those memories. But AB, I would have come to this much later because we're talking about a journey, but I recently sent you a message, right? After, that time the trailer also had not come. When I saw what your post was about and the poster came, and I just knew, because I read that the director has already, it's been screened somewhere, and there was a review which I read. If you have not read it, I'll send it to you. Beautiful review where people are saying lovely stuff. And then I read the whole story, and it's adapted from a film, and I read that. And I just had to message you, and I'm going to tell this out to the world, that most people, you don't have that. I always say this, that you don't have entitlement, but you must know that people around in the media, they have such a goodwill for you because of the person you are. But at the same time, we always talk about the kind of choices that you have taken up, especially you remember that Manmarzia interview we had done once? It was for DNA. I can see that in the last 6-7 years, the kind of choices you've been making is so different. And today the world is changing, right? Does that help an artist like you to also go out and try these things? And when people are not slotting as actor, star, it's becoming an amalgamation of everything. And there's so much more respect and love.
Well, I'll agree with you partly. I'm not going to disagree with you, but I agree with you partly. I think the world has become more encompassing in that aspect. The one thing, Nayan, I think we sadly tend to forget about actors, or most people in films, not just actors, they could be behind the camera as well, is we forget that they're creative people.
Yeah.
There's so much emphasis that we ourselves lay on the commerce of it, and which is justified. I just feel now, unwantedly, so is the audience. I go to a movie and I judge it as, did I enjoy it or did I not?
Absolutely.
I don't judge it on what's the collection and this is subpar and this is above par. I don't get into that. I'm just watching a film. I like to get lost into the world of the movies. And that's the beauty of cinema. I've always said this, and I've said this before. Going to the movies is an act of submission. All right? For me, it's holy. You go to the box office, you submit money. You go to the concession stand, you submit again. You go into a darkened theater, it doesn't matter who is sitting next to you, gender, caste, creed, religion.
Absolutely.
You're part of a larger family at that point of time. You look up in reverence to this big silver screen and you watch dreams come true and you live viscerally through it. I get gooseflesh saying that. So that's what it means to me. I get so excited to go to the movies and watch a film. At that point of time, thankfully, I'm not thinking, editing kaisa hai? Performance, what kind of business will it do? I feel that kind of takes away from the enjoyment of it. That's a function that we, as the people who are the makers of it, have to pay attention to. That also cannot override what you do. we have to start finding the balance. And I think it's high time somebody started saying this. Because the conversation right now is just about business, 100 crore, then it became 200, then it became 400, then 500, then 1,000.
Yeah.
And I'm the person who says a good film is a successful film and a bad film is a non-successful film because you're making the film for the audience. But your choice to make a film cannot be financial.
Absolutely.
The minute you make it a financial choice, I feel you've already compromised on the creativity of it. And if you're going to compromise the creativity of it, most of the time, you're going to go wrong.
But
it has to come from the heart.
Yeah.
A story has to come from the heart. A film has to come from the heart. It has to be made with passion and with a lot of heart. The minute we make it about just the commerce, you might get it right, but that'll be very, very, very few times. We tend to forget, I'll talk for an actor because I'm an actor. There's an element of choice. I've done this. I don't feel like doing this. I want to do this now. This is what I feel like expressing. This is what I feel like saying. I'm going through a phase in my life where maybe I'm attracted to this kind of a story, not this kind of a story. Somewhere, we have to learn to accept that.
Absolutely.
We don't. We
Absolutely.
are too busy thrusting commerce down everybody. Now, I'd like to say with the caveat that yes, if you want to do something which is more artistic, which possibly doesn't have the avenues or the scope or the potential to be a huge, roaring 100, 200 crore film, but I feel like doing something small and intimate, you need to price it accordingly.
Yeah.
So that you take
Budgeting,
care of.
yeah.
But you can't fault an actor for wanting to do something different. You don't fault a painter when they decide to try something else. Why do we judge actors like that? Just because what? What's the reason? I think I am really, really enjoying this phase of my career because somewhere I feel, and I have to admit, maybe earlier I wasn't as confident in my abilities to be able to try different things. There was more pressure to, oh, you have to establish yourself like this. You didn't have the wisdom at that point of time, or the confidence, or the self-belief to maybe go out on a limb. Today, I have those. So whether I choose a Manmarzia, a Ludo, a Breathe, a Big Bull, a Bob Biswas, Dasvi, or what I've done recently, I Want to Talk, Be Happy, Ghumar. I was just thinking about on the way here, the last 12 months, for example, I Want to Talk, Be Happy, Houseful 5, and now Kaalidhar Laapata. That's immense.
Absolutely.
Wow, I'm so lucky, right?
Absolutely.
I keep thinking, I say, wow, I'm so lucky I get to do all of this. Because I've been part of the industry where, no, you can't experiment so much. I don't like that word experiment. You can't take such a diverse choice. You can't go from one end of the spectrum to the other. How nice that we live in a time where the audience is accepting of that. Because if they weren't accepting of it, we wouldn't get the opportunity to make it. But the fact that I'm lucky because that I feel makers have that confidence, thankfully, that okay, we can approach him for a Houseful 5, but let's approach him for a I Want to Talk. Okay, let's approach him for a Be Happy. Or he can do a Kaalidhar Laapata one month after Houseful comes out. I feel very lucky and I feel thankful that they bestow that kind of faith in me, and I hope I don't let it down. But from an audience point of view, like you said, isn't it liberating? It is, because they're watching different things.
Absolutely.
And
that's why I said if you read the comments,
I will now.
There are primarily comments where people are coming and writing. I think I'm not talking about people trolls. I'm talking about people who must have felt that
trolls are people as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying that I'm not talking about those people who have hatred as their DNA. I'm talking about people.
No, you got to listen to them as well.
Yeah, but some people who may have felt that they expected more of you. Today they are coming and writing that, look at his film choices. Oh, we've judged him wrong. And there are comments like that. And that's I think your biggest victory as an artist. I know I'm gonna break for the coffee. I just feel like, can I ask you something? Will you be honest?
Yeah. If I'm not going to be honest, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's true. But
are you going to be able to handle my honesty?
I can handle your honesty. You know that. The fact that you've not even gone there, I'm happy at this point. But there's so much love around you. Okay, you said that there was a point that you felt underconfident, and this is also the time, primarily the time just before Manmarzia, and we've had that conversation as well. When you took your failure, there was a point where you took the failure and the judgment to heart, and then you took a break. Today when there's so much success, and actually it's been a year where there's a variety of success coming from different kinds of roles. How do you keep yourself away from the pangs of stardom and the success that comes with it? And how do you keep it from not going to your head?
I've never witnessed any major star, and by the grace of God, I happen to have quite a few around me in my house.
Yeah.
But not just within my house.
Outside.
I have, in the last 25 years of being an actor, never ever come across a major star who's acting like a major star. They're a star, okay? 2 reasons. One, first and foremost, it's God-given. Aap kuch bhi kar lijiye. If you're not blessed by God, forget about it. It's not going to happen. Secondly, if you work with any of them, and I've worked with all of them, when they're working, it's just the work. Nothing else comes in the way. Because they all recognize, if my work isn't correct, whatever is to follow after that is not going to happen. I don't want to sound disparaging to anyone. The amount of, for example, media that shows up to cover you at an event is not the sign of stardom. In the world of Instagram, the amount of likes you get is not a sign of stardom. I'll tell you why. We all use social media to promote our films. Today, studios love to use that as a promotional tool. It's free for them if they ask the actor to do it. And some actors have millions and millions of them. If I tell you on my social media, go watch this film, prove the conversion of that to me. From my experience, having seen everybody, it's close to 0.
Absolutely, I agree.
That's not real. Concentrate on your craft. Concentrate on your film. Try and do your best. An actor will be the first person to know whether they've done enough and whether they've done good enough. The problem is, and I'm telling you this very honestly, when I first started off, in my initial years, I had a very acrimonious relationship with a lot of the reviewers because I used to get very offended by what they said. With time, I learned to analyze and self-reflect as to why it bothered me so much. The point is, I always knew. I just hadn't figured out how to enumerate it. The point is, when I saw the film, I knew it wasn't good enough. More importantly, I knew I wasn't the best I should be. Arey, ye mistake ho gaya. I should have done this better. Okay, let me pray that nobody notices. Let me put those blinkers on, be an ostrich, head in the sand. Please God, nobody notice. Guess what? They all notice. You don't like it. When the truth is rubbed in your face, it's not pleasant. It's a harsh reality. That's why actors, it's a defense mechanism. We all know. We're the first people to know.
That is true.
So what you have to do is you have to learn that just concentrate on what you have power over.
But is there any particular scene in Refugee that you felt like when you watch it today?
Each and every one. I'm not kidding. Each and every one. And I saw it last night. Each and every one. Each and every one. And I've told this to JP Saab several times. And he gets very angry with me. And we have, he's like a father figure to me. And he treats me like a son. So he can take those liberties with me and I'll never, and I get reprimanded by him. But he's somebody I'm very, very comfortable with. He's somebody, and I don't know why, because I don't spend the amount of time with him that I might like or he might like.
Yeah.
Because we're all busy, but he's the kind of guy even if I'm just sitting next to him, I just feel at ease. And when I tell him this, I say, sir, I saw that scene, I could have done it better. So he jokes, he says, oh, what are you trying to say? I don't know my job. I said, no, I'm saying I could have done better. He's like, no, but I okayed the shot. So what are you trying to say? And that makes me think, and I also then realize that, hey, wait, after a point of time, we actors can be very self-centered about it and talk about, main aise karta hu. It's the director that decides. So in a sense, and I'm not trying to deflect the responsibility at all, but in a sense, the final performance of an actor is a reflection of the director. Because they okay it.
So you did tell him that?
No, I keep telling him that, I could have done this better, and he shuts me up saying, you're trying to tell me I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, no, you know exactly what you're doing. Let me not get into that with you. I don't argue with him beyond a certain point out of love and respect. But I feel very honestly in Houseful, which is, today, not even a month. I can tell you almost every shot I can find a different way of doing it. Now, I don't want to use the word improve because that is something Tarun is not going to like, and out of respect for him, and rightly so. But I can find a different way of doing it. And that in itself is a kind of
introspection. When you speak about Refugee wasn't supposed to be your first film. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Oh, you know that? Wow. Nice. I like it. I'm liking you even more now.
Thanks. You don't have a choice, by the way.
No, it's nice, you know, and when for me, I find interviews very difficult, but half the time because I think it's very important for the interviewer, if they know what they're doing and they have genuine regard for their subject, they'll come fully prepared.
That's true.
And when an interviewee realizes they're prepared, you feel like, okay, this person's going to take care of me. It's much like a director-actor relationship. And then you open up even more.
Yes.
So yes, you're right. My first film that I was signed for was by Mr. J.P. Dutta. It was a film called Aakhri Mughal, which was based on a fictitious story about Bahadur Shah Zafar and his son, Mirza Mughal. I was going to play Mirza Mughal and the great Dilip Kumar Saab was going to play Bahadur Shah Zafar. But that film never got made, sadly.
Why?
Well, what JP Saab told me was, it was a very, very ambitious film. And if you've seen JP Saab's films, the scale is immense, you know. And I think at that point of time, the industry and his distributors felt it might be too big a film to want to make the way he envisioned it. And JP Saab is not somebody who likes to compromise. And I mean, he doesn't. So he said, you know, the budget is going to be crazy. And in those days, I think in the 2000s, and I'm talking about 97, 98, I think the largest budgeted film was some 20, 30 crores.
Yes.
Which in today's age would be like the equivalent of 200 crores. And I think from his vision, what his budget was almost 3 to 4 times that. So he just felt that the industry, the distributors and the exhibitors are saying, look, this might be too big a risk to take. And JP Saab was not going to compromise. And plus he felt, in order to tell the story, it was a love story of Mirza Mughal and this girl he falls in love with. If he wanted to tell the story the way he wanted to tell it, with the correct dramatic notes and romantic notes, he would have to take liberties with history, which he didn't want to do as well, because history is well documented, and he didn't want to take such liberties. He said, 1 or 2 things I can do, but I don't want to change history too much. So he decided not to make the film.
This is how many years before Refugee happened?
This is about 1.5 years before Refugee started.
Did that hit you? Because that was supposed to be your first film. And you know,
I was very disappointed because I'd really immersed myself at that point of time in that world, you know, and I was really looking forward to it. But I mean, he within a week turned around and had another script. So when he first started talking about Refugee, it was actually based in Bangladesh.
Oh.
Yeah. It was based on the 71 war.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then he changed the...
And then that changed again.
And it's based on a...
So now it moved to the run of Kutch.
Yeah.
And it became more contemporary. So actually the first actress I ever did a screen test, did an audition with, was Bipasha. I remember it was in Kamalistan Studios and JP Saab wanted to screen test me and Bipasha. Bipasha was a huge model in those days.
Yes.
And being Bengali, he wanted her to play a Bangladeshi refugee. And I was going to play an army officer.
Wow.
So he actually auditioned both of us. So the first actress I actually shared screen space with was Bipasha. And another wonderful actor called Rimi Sen. Who then went on to the South and did a lot of wonderful films. So yeah, these two are the first people I did my first ever audition with for a Hindi film.
And you've done Dhoom with them.
No, that was another Rimi Sen.
Achha, this is another
Yes,
Rimi Sen.
yeah.
But you know, I have to ask you this because a lot of people think you come from a legacy, but you are here to build your own. And I've seen this interview where people have said that I love the fact that AB is coming and saying, I don't want to override on the legacy I have. I want to add to it. And when you were starting off, not many people know that many people didn't want to work with you because you were Bachchan Saab's son. I think...
Nayan's really dug up the past, huh? Well done, my boy. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Did that hurt you?
Yes.
What were the things that were told to you? Because you were also like ambitious, wanting to get into films at that point, and although this could have been a help, it actually worked against you.
Nayan, I'm not much of a crybaby.
You are not.
You know, because I don't think you should, because there's always going to be somebody who has it far tougher than you do, and that pales in comparison. When you see the strife the world is going through, our problems seem very first world then. So I'm not somebody who likes to, and I don't like looking over my shoulder. I don't like talking about the past, because there's a reason it's the past. The other reason is, you keep looking over your shoulder, you're going to see who's going to catch up and overtake you. So focus on the way forward. But yeah, when you're, like 21 years old and filled with exuberance and zest, and the chatter that you keep hearing around you is that, he's going to become an actor, and it's a big deal. Somewhere you get caught up in that. And when you go into a meeting and not one but several directors say, thanks but no thanks. And very politely, none of them were rude. And I didn't understand then, I understood once I signed Refugee, that they all said, we don't want the responsibility of launching Mr. Amitabh Bachchan's son. And I didn't get that. But when I started working and I started seeing firsthand what my father meant just to the film industry, to fellow actors, to directors and all, I said, hey, I get that. I get that. He's such an immense figure that people have so much love and respect for. And I think that's amazing. I can understand why people say, no, boss, don't put that onto us. I get it. And but at that point, because you're so young, you're like, okay, I'm ready. What? No? Really? Yeah. Oh, okay. You feel bad. You're young, you haven't seen as much of the world. You're not as wise. So you feel bad. It's very disheartening. As any actor will tell you, not just me, and I'm the least qualified compared to the heartbreak and heartache many actors would have seen compared to me. I mean, hearing a rejection from any quarter about anything is a tough pill to swallow. Because see, at the end of the day, as actors, we're all here to give it our best. Yes. And you think you've given your best. And when you're told that your best is not good enough or not acceptable, it hurts. So contrary to what people think about actors, we actually have no ego. We can't, because every time we do lean on our ego, life just pushes us back and gives us a reality check.
That's true. At that point, when you were actually debuting, you're such a fantastic son, everybody knows that. You were also coming with a sense of responsibility, I feel. Like the family was going through trying times and you actually quit your education and you came back to help your father. And that's around similar times when you actually debuted. Did it feel doubly hurt? Because you were also trying to come out and help your father, who's always been there, and your mom and everybody who's been there for you वो बोलते हैं ना कि बरगद का पेड़. And there, when you're trying to do something on your own, did that hurt you more because of the situations around?
Yes, I mean, of course. As any loving and responsible son, you want to be there to take care of your parents and help them in whatever way possible. And when you're not able to, despite you trying very hard, it's disheartening.
When you started off after that, there was this point where you came and you conquered and everybody started looking at you, and then you came up with a very different kind of a movie, right? Because it was not the typical overnight stardom wali movie, but it was a film that had a lot of heart, okay? Were you told multiple times that, why aren't you taking a commercial route? Because 90s and the late 90s and the early 2000s were fully commercial, ekdam star wala, hero wala. Did anybody ever tell you that?
A lot of people, yeah. The way I looked at it, and at that point of time, is you're working with Mr. J.P. Dutta. Look at the cast I had around me. I had, Jaggu Dada, Anna, Mr. Sunil Shetty, Anupam Uncle, Reena Roy ji, Kulbhushan Kharbanda ji, Bebo and I were debuting together. I mean, it was fantastic. And you working with, the great Mr. J.P. Dutta, whose last film is Border. So it was, Border wasn't your run-of-the-mill love story and all that. So you knew that JP Saab would take care of you, and he's a wonderful maker. Plus, at the back of my mind, I always knew that, okay, I've got this, and then as my next, I'll do something which is within the tram lines of what commercial cinema is meant to be. So the next couple of films that I signed on after that were that. Yeah. So I would get that variety, and I'd be able to challenge myself accordingly.
Do you still feel that the innate Abhishek while choosing a film, while picking a film, your first film was not run-of-the-mill? If you look at the last few films you've rightly named in the last question, whether it's a Manmarzia, whether it's a Ludo, whether it's a Ghumar, whether it's a Dasri, they're commercial, but they're not run-of-the-mill films.
Yeah.
be happy. Even I want to talk, and now Khalid.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that you have the same set of sensibility, or has it evolved over time?
So
Innately.
that's an interesting question. Yes, this is part of my sensibility. It's not the entirety of my sensibility. I grew up watching Manmohan Desai and Prakash Mehra, and Yash Chopra and Ramesh Sippy and Rishikesh Mukherjee. So that's
also a part.
Yeah, no, that's a major part. And I love that. That's my favorite part of cinema. Like I was just saying the other day in an interview that I really miss the big action pieces. I miss the songs. I genuinely miss the songs. I really love doing songs. I love the Indianness and our masala in our films. I love this as well, but I'm looking forward to getting back to that. That's our identity, you know. And it's weird because having spent the bulk of my growing years in the West, my sensibilities were very Western. And I'm still in touch, all my school friends are there, and they all very sweetly see every film of mine. Thankfully now, because of the internet, they get to see it. And they, for the world of them, could never understand initially that there's this scene where something really nice happens and it's a really happy moment, and wait, cut to what? Why are you in Switzerland? Why are you dancing? And why are there dancers? And why is it, what is this, what's going on? And they used to be like, what is this? And then they all have come to India and spent a lot of time here. Some of them came for my wedding and were the Sangeet. And after that, whenever I've gone for their weddings, I have to bring a mixtape of Hindi film songs, and they love it. And in fact, the last couple of films, they're like, you know, AB, can we get back to, we want more of Jhoom Barabar Jhoom kind of stuff, you know. They're like, and I'm like, really, you guys like it? They're like, we love it. But it's a very Indian thing, no?
Yeah.
We don't even think about it. You know, boy meets girl, there's an attraction, there's a twinkle in the eye, there's a sweet dialogue said, there's just a look, girl smiles, cut, stad, snow, mountains, dancing. And we're like, yes!
This is what we want.
This is what we want. And onlooker will be like, ye kya ho gaya yaar? You know? But we just get it. We're a musical culture. Everything about ours, from our religion, is musical.
Absolutely.
You know,
So true.
if you take the Aarti, for example, it's musical. Our scriptures are written to a meter. They're recited and sung out, most of them. Our shloks, everything.
yeah.
So we have a storytelling heritage which is musical. So we get it. We look for an excuse. I mean, we're in Mumbai right now, and it's the ultimate city for that. I'm not kidding. If you pull up at a traffic light, which of late you'll be stuck in a lot in Mumbai traffic, and somebody's blaring the in song in their car, you'll see motorcyclists and all, they'll be like, yeah, good song. We love it. You know, it's the rickshaw wala come out and be like, yeah, if no, he's not blaring his music. We're musical people. You know, our expression of happiness is dance.
You know, even when you're in an auto rickshaw or an Ola or Uber, like if you tell them, if they watch something and they'll be like, uska jo gana tha na, wo gana bahut acha hai.
But that's the maximum recall that our films
Yeah.
have. Actually, more than scenes, we remember the songs of our films.
Yeah.
You know, if I discuss some of the classics with you in terms of songs, Waqt ne kiya, kya hasi sitam. Tell me one dialogue from that film. See, that's sad, but that's also the power our music has.
I'll tell you something. This is very personal. I have to share this because you said that we are a musical industry, we are a musical culture. Recently, there was this thing where I was told by somebody, one of the PRs actually told me that...
One of the?
PRs. Okay.
What's that?
PR team, one of the PRs.
Ah, okay. Huh.
Told me that...
They're called PRs.
Yeah, PRs, no? PROs, public relation officers. So, not yours.
PRs.
I was told, but she knows what is...
I heard PRs first, so I thought...
So they told me, and it affected me. Like usually it doesn't affect me, but this time now because I started on my own and I'm looking for good opportunities to have good conversations with people. And if I don't have it, after given an opportunity, it's my discredit and it's my mistake. But sometimes you're not even given those opportunities, and when you question that, I've been told recently that, you know, but people don't take you seriously anymore because you're only dancing in your reels.
You dance in your reels?
Yeah. So I'm like, but have you seen any of my conversations? Like, you know, they're like, no, but you know how the industry functions. People don't want to come. You will make them dance. I said, I've never asked anybody to come and do an interview and say, ki, aap mere saath nacho. It's always been from the other end sometimes. And you know, it affected me so much. My mother is sitting here. She keeps telling me, no, you should. I actually, because I'm running it on my own savings, I want these opportunities because I want to do conversations. I actually stopped dancing. The only thing I told them, but you're also promoting and you're also representing people who are singing and dancing in movies, and that's our culture. And I'm so happy that you said it.
No, you're being too nice. After a point, you reach a stage in your life where it's not about being undiplomatic or rude. You just call things for what they are. You don't need to take names. Were you genuinely excited to have a conversation with the person that person was representing?
Yeah.
Right? You think they would have contributed anything to your discussion? Or, okay, I need to do this, that's it. The point is, stop undervaluing yourself.
Thank you.
You are who you are, and you want to dance. I dance in my house. Good, bad, whatever. That's got nothing to do with what I do professionally. That's your life. You do what you want. What I'm saying is, we're here, right? Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
Okay. I don't care if you dance in your reels, because I care about this. And if somebody doesn't respect this because of something else, that person doesn't deserve your respect.
Thank you so much. How sweet of you.
No, but it's true. It's true. Think about it.
But
had that discussion happened with whoever, and I hope it's somebody that would have added to your knowledge or experience, it's their loss.
But the industry has its way of, the reason why I said it is because the industry has its way of slotting artists and art.
Yes.
Like if you do 3 commercial movies.
That's a human trait.
Yeah.
That's our way of trying. Picture चल गई, क्यों चली? इस वजह से चली. नहीं चली, क्यों नहीं चली? इस वजह से. If everybody had the answers, they'd all be making hit films. That's not the way it is. But as human beings, we need to understand why. I still remember, and I was in high school, and the first day I went into my physics class, and my teacher's name was Mr. Hyde, wonderful gentleman, English gentleman. He said, "You want to do physics, children?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm going to make a statement. Anybody who doesn't understand it, raise their hand." He said, "The universe is eternal." He said, "Do you understand that?" I said, "Yeah." He said, No, it's eternal. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. So my first thing was, लेकिन उसके बाद क्या है? So I put my hand up. He said, "No, it's eternal. We don't understand. The universe is eternal. It just doesn't. Our thing is, नहीं, उसके बाद God will be sitting there in his white robe and his mukut, and he'll be doing all. That's what we think. But it's eternal. Mankind finds it very difficult to understand and grasp something that is not physically in front of you.
Yeah.
So we are always questioning, which is great because that's why we grow, right? Now, a film working, not working, we want to know why. Why is it not? Nahi, aise kyun hai? So it's human nature. But you have to rise above that at times.
But does it not affect you anymore? Like, suppose when a Houseful 5 is doing 200 crores, 250 crores, but again, you cannot expect the same performance that you would have from a Kaalidhar because the world
Yeah,
is
it's a
very
different world, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
see, it's not
because the
made.
industry
It's
wants to slot
not.
people,
It's not made with that budget either, right?
Yeah.
It's made with a different sensibility, and it's made with a different budget, keeping in mind that this is what this sensibility can afford.
Sorry, I'm cutting you. I remember, because we're having this conversation, I remember this was a time when Dear Zindagi was about to release.
Okay.
And Shah Rukh sir and I were having a conversation for an interview that we were doing, in an interview. And he said, when I was saying that, sir, it's such a brave choice. He said, when I did Chak De, today people will call Chak De one of my best performances. And he said, I came out of Yashraj one day, and that time Fun Republic was Ad Labs apparently. And he said that I couldn't see many people watching and going to the theatres for Chak De in the first week. It picked up on the second week. Today people, and there was apparently a newspaper article or a magazine article which had his picture, and with bold letters it was written finished. So he said, I have seen that day, and today after so many years, when people come to me and tell me that Chak De is, the most iconic film, and then people today judge me because my films are not doing the exact numbers that they are expecting it to do. It's such a stupid fight that they want content and they don't want masala. And then when there's masala and a movie does well, then you say that, oh, isme to kuch hai hi nahi. Matlab, there's no middle ground, this is what he said. Do you also agree?
Yeah.
Happy New Year is that film that I can watch anytime. If I'm upset,
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's one of the best films.
Nandu is one of my favorite characters I've played.
Yeah. But do you feel that somewhere...
And I feel if anybody who can have an offshoot of a film is Nandu Bhide.
Absolutely.
I loved it. It was so much fun. There was such abandon in that film. And it just encapsulated everything. We never went out saying that this is going to change your life. But we said for those 3 hours, we guarantee you it'll be time well spent.
Yeah.
I mean, kids come up to me today, like in Aaradhya school, kids come up and say, hey, Nandu. And I'm like, cool. I like that. You know? And that's also what our movies are meant to do for you. You know? So yes, he's absolutely right. There are very radical views in that sense. And people, because today they have a means by which to communicate that, where previously you didn't. It just gets amplified a lot more. But more reason why I think people need to be a bit more responsible with that. Because like I always say, once you say something, it's out there in the universe. You can't take that back. Even if you apologize, if you've hurt somebody with what you said, they're going to remember that. People remember, they'll forget what you said, what you did. They'll never forget how you made them feel.
In the Be Happy interview.
So basically, don't stop dancing. You do you, man, because nobody else can do that. No, seriously.
I will.
Yeah.
In the Be Happy interviews, you had said this, that there was a point of time when you went up to your father and said that you don't want to act anymore. Was this just before Man Marziya? Was it because I didn't have...
Oh, no. That was in the initial couple of years of my film. Maybe 1 or 2 years into the movies.
Why did you say that?
None of my films were working then. And I, you know, I've now become tired of talking about it because I think I've talked too much about it, so people just concentrate on that. But it's a reality, it's the truth. By me not wanting to discuss it doesn't mean it's going to go away. It's better to accept it, own it, and then say, but I'm still sitting here. It's been 25 years.
Yes.
You know, my films weren't working. I'd worked with everyone. I'd worked with directors that in their last films had given blockbuster films. I was advised, okay, work with this person. I listened to everybody, and it just wasn't happening. And I'd lost confidence. And I went and I said, you know what? I think it's high time you're also honest with yourself. And I said, no matter what I do, what I try, it's not happening. I'm giving it my best. And I think maybe this is the world's way of saying, sorry, not interested, next. You have to accept that at times, that maybe no matter what we think, you maybe just might not be good enough. So I said, maybe I'm not meant to be here. Maybe I should be doing something else. I tried. Dad, I gave it my best. I tried. But you have to accept the reality sometimes. So I think I should try and do something else. And what he said to me was amazing and is possibly one of the single reasons why I'm still here. He said, I'm not talking to you as a father. I'm going to talk to you as a colleague. You're nowhere near the finished product. This is 2002. He said, you're nowhere near. There's a lot to improve, but you're improving with every film. I see it. And I can see there's something about you. And if you trust my opinion at all, I said, of course, your opinion is of paramount importance to me. He said, there's something about you. And the day it clicks, you're set. So keep working. Don't bother about what your role is, just work. Do anything. It doesn't matter if you're not in the center of the frame, whatever, just be in front of the camera and work. Because also when you're working and you're occupied, you're not thinking of the negative stuff. Just keep working, you're getting there, keep improving. And then when I was leaving the room, he said, and one more thing, I never brought you up to be a quitter. So we Bachchans don't quit.
Yeah. Glad. And then the Yuvas and the Gurus and everything came. And I'm just so proud of the fact that you are the person you are. No matter what. Because not many people in your position are actually as kind and as...
Really? No, I don't know.
No. It could be a facade, but I've seen people who are kind to me, but I would also respect them even more if I can see them being kind to everybody else. I'm not talking about your kindness towards me only. Here is where I speak about how I've seen you with others. When you look back, is there any one performance that you felt didn't get its due when you look back? I will... After you tell me, I will tell you.
No, that's either a trick question or a very finely worded question. Which performance I felt didn't get its due? No. Every performance gets its due. Good or bad, that's what's due. That's the meaning of due. So, whichever performance I've got the due they deserved. There could be one that I felt bad about.
Yeah.
You know, yaar. That there's several. Several.
But anyone?
It's a very unlikely choice. I won't talk about a performance, I'll talk about a film. The only film in my career where I said, boss, super hit, and it didn't work. Otherwise, you're always, like confused. There's a lot of trepidation. What's going to happen? This one, it was brazen about it. I'm like, This one, oh, people like the promo, great. The music's gone through the roof. We're landing this one. This one we're set. Was a movie called Jhoom Barabar Jhoom. And I loved Ricky Thukral. I had so much fun playing him.
Unpopular opinion, I love the movie.
I loved it. Wasn't it cool?
It's a very fun
It was so
film.
mad and greatly styled, and what music and the way Shad did everything. I really enjoyed it.
You know, another film that I really enjoy, I can watch it even today, and I think your performance in the movie was so good, was Raavan.
Oh, thank you.
I think it is a brilliant film.
It is.
And the way the whole juxtaposition of everything happens, I think it's, if you watch it today, you know, at 15, 16, 20, watching Raavan versus at 33, when you watch it, you look at it from a different perspective. But I think, thanks to my Bengali roots, I actually watched it on 33. G.
Really?
G.
Better start behaving like it now, man. Behaving
Not
like a
with
teenager.
you.
Behaving like a teenager.
Not with you. But any movie that you felt like you were not good enough, like from your side?
Most of them. Like I said, I can watch Houseful today and give you at least 10 times where I could have done things differently. So you never feel you're good enough. And I'm glad for that, because that keeps you hungry. I'm glad for that. So most, if not all.
Today, when you look back at the last few films that you've done, because it's gotten you so much love, success, everything, what do you think shifted in you pre-Man Marziya? Because that time you didn't go away, you were taking a break, a conscious break. You said that I felt that I was not doing justice, and it was not like your movies were not working before that.
No, that's
They
what I
were
said.
actually
I'd
working.
become very complacent. I wasn't happy with my approach to my work. I was getting up every morning, rolling out of bed, going to work. All my films were doing great business. I was riding the wave. I was very happy with it. But that's not... I wanted to feel scared. I wanted to challenge. I felt somewhere I wasn't challenging myself. And I think what those 2-3 years of reflection gave me was like, okay, you have to challenge yourself. You have to try something that you might not have done before. The films I take on is also, I feel more ready emotionally to want to maybe tell those stories, portray that emotion. Also, with experience and time, you come to a stage where you can take on more mature sentiments. Very honestly, I'm done with it now.
Absolutely.
Houseful came at the right time because I'd come off a spate of some very intense work and I was just drained. And I remember telling Basuri, my manager, saying, Basuri, please, let's look for something light-hearted and happy because it's getting to me. And my family was saying the same thing. Can you please do something? We don't want to cry so much in your films. So, and thankfully, Houseful happened. And now, like right now, what I feel like doing is I want to get back to the quintessential masala Hindi films for a while. I'm missing that.
But you have two of the biggest commercial
you have to first believe it and then go look for it, and it'll happen, man. If you're worthy of it, it'll happen.
Your next two films are two films that I'm really excited about. One for reasons, of course, I told you before we started, and there's a special thing that I have for you.
I know I'm doing one more film. Where the second one has come from, I'm dying to know, but okay.
One is announced.
Right.
One is announced.
Okay.
Which is what we are going to talk about. One is not announced, but it will soon get announced.
What do I say about Abhishek? He's a great colleague. He's a wonderful friend. And more than anything, he's my brother. I really love him. I can't tell you in words what he actually means to me. He's a fantastic actor that everyone knows. He has a great sense of comedy. He is brilliant in drama, romance, action. He's done it all, from blockbusters like Dhoom to Guru to Yuva. So, as an actor, he just amazes you by his work. But as a person, there is no one better than he. And I can vouch for it. Abhishek completes 25 years in the industry. And Abhishek, I wish you many more. And I'm happy to have walked a few steps in this, a mile-long journey of yours. And I hope to walk a few more together, brother. I really love you. Wish you all the best, AB, and see you soon. You know what I mean.
We all know what he means. Please tell me about this movie that you're doing with him.
He's so sweet, you know.
From one good human being in the industry to another one.
So there's a reason I call him my little bro. So I first met Riteish through his elder brother Amit. We were shooting Rohit Shetty's first film, Zameen, AJ and I. And we were shooting in Latur, which is where his family's from. And he used to come hang out on the set because Amit had helped us organize everything. And he had just started off. And I've known him since then. And the first time we worked together was for a film for Ramu called Nach, which if you haven't seen, you must see. It's a wonderful film.
I have, and I love it.
It's wonderful. And that's where the journey began. And then, you know, there's several films we've done together. I really love working with him because, you know, the great thing about Riteish is he's a very, very giving actor. You'll never even see him look at you like, wait, is this guy overshadowing me? It's not that. It's about, he just enjoys the process. And I remember when he started his film company, the first film of his I saw was a film called Balak Palak. And he had called me for the premiere of it. And Rohan and I had gone, because obviously Rohan and I and Riteish became even closer during Bluff Master. And I said, you know, you should do this more often. And whenever you see Riteish speak about work or discuss a scene, I've always told him that, you know, there's a director in you. And he sees it very objectively, and it's wonderful to see the way he breaks it down. And then I was so happy when he decided to direct Ved. And I'd done like a voiceover for a film of his before that, which Ravi Jadhav ji had made with him. And Banjo. And I'd always told him, so when he did Ved, and have you seen Ved? It's so beautiful.
It is.
And he has just set the bar so high as a husband also. He loves Genelia so much that the way he shot her also, she looked like a teenage girl, and it was wonderful. And they're just such a beautiful couple, genuinely good human beings.
Absolutely.
And you know, in a cynical world that we all live in, honestly, Riteish, when I see him and Genelia, he kind of reaffirms that, you know, good guys never finish last. And whenever you're doubting that at times, you see Riteish and you're like, okay, yeah, I should carry on. And when we were about a year ago, he said, look, I know Riteish's dream for, I think, more than 20 years was to make Raja Shivaji. And I've seen him go through that journey, and he's so passionate about it. But more than that, I just loved what he wanted to do for the industry. He said, I want to make a film for the Marathi industry, which is on par with what they see world over. And to prove to them that, guys, we can also do it. We're not some small country cousin. And he very sweetly came and asked me if I'd do a small part in that. I mean, I didn't even need to hear it. I mean, he knows. He doesn't even need to tell me. He has to literally say, can you show up here? And I'll show up. But he still has the manners and the good heart to come and request. And so, yeah, I'm actually shooting with him tomorrow.
Oh.
So, tomorrow, day after, sorry. And I was very emotional when I gave that first shot. Because Riteish and I share a very, very close bond.
That's true.
You know, I'm very, very protective about him. He's a genuine friend, and I consider him family. I consider his family family. And when I did the first shot, I was very overwhelmed. I tried my best to hide it. I quickly went to the trailer and dabbed my eyes a bit, but very exciting. And his vision is huge, and it's all turning out so great. I don't want to talk too much because I feel I'll jinx it, but it's going to be very exciting.
It is. When you speak about Riteish and Genelia being like one of the best couples, which is absolutely true, you know, I have to tell you something which is so. I was telling Mom today, and we were discussing about the whole family, and I was talking to Sonia. I was telling her yesterday that the most beautiful thing about you or Aishwarya ma'am, both, are that whenever you guys meet me, the first thing that both of you have always asked me is, how's Mom? I think it comes from a deep-rooted conditioning of loving your family, valuing your family, because I don't think she's ever met Mom. You've met, you've spoken, but she's always had that. Family values have been so important. How important is it to have a partner like that whose family, because you are so attached to your family, to have family values like that?
I think in life you pretty much end up with people who are somewhat on the similar plane on certain things. They always say, the adage of, opposites attract, and I'm sure they do. In my case, they definitely did. I mean, look at her beauty scale, look at mine. The opposites definitely attract. But there has to be, a milan of certain values, I think. I think you'll always end up finding that. I haven't seen very many people who've gone wrong with that. But family to me is the most important thing. And I say it with utmost pride. Nothing comes ahead of my family for me. I remember I gave an interview many years ago, and it kind of made it on the front page of the then Bombay Times, where I said, they asked me, what is your relationship with God? I said, it's very personal. They said, no, let me know. I said, well, God is my friend. Dad is my best friend.
That is how it is. And that is how it should be. Because I feel like, because I've done research, now you will have to give me for that also. Please correct me if I am right or wrong. Is it true that you met Aishwarya ma'am first time as a production assistant?
Yes.
Where you had gone for a recce?
Yeah. I was on a recce for my father's film Mrityu with Mr. Dilip Kumar and the head of our production, Shagun Wagh, in Switzerland. And I was sent by my mother to Switzerland because I'd grown up there. I'd studied in boarding school there, so they felt I might know the locales better. And I was very friendly with Bobby, who was shooting his first. Not his first. Barsat was his first. He was shooting Aur Pyaar Ho Gaya. And the day we were on our recce, we came onto his set, and I went to say hello. And he was shooting with Aishwarya. It was, I think, at Zanin train station, which is right next to Stad. It was the first time I saw her in person. I mean, we'd obviously seen her during Miss World and all that. And that evening, Bobby said, why don't you come to our hotel? We'll have dinner together. So I remember going there for dinner, and I knew Mickey very well, Mickey Contractor, who was doing her makeup. Mickey used to do my mom's makeup as well, and he'd seen me as a kid. So we were all sitting together, and that's when I first met her. And she tells me, she said she didn't understand a word of what I was saying because I had a very heavy accent, apparently. Yeah. I was out of this British boarding school. You're like, hello, how are you? Yeah. It was like, freak.
But look at where you are today, and your parents, your wonderful child who's immensely talented. Because you've seen those videos. Oh my God, she performs like a dream.
Thank you.
And I want to say this, that today parenting can be so difficult and challenging given the social media invasion. But all of you, and not just you and Aishwarya ma'am, I think even Shweta, the way the kids have grown up to be, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
How important was it for you to have that kind of a setup for your child? Because knowing, there was a point where you said that she's grown up today.
Yeah.
At one point, she believed that the fans were there for her. And today she would be knowing, and she knows the world. She knows what their parents and what her family, what her grandparents have done and continue to do. Does she have a reckoning of absolutely everything today now that...
I think so. I've never really spoken to her about it. I have to give the credit of that entirely to her mother. Like I said, I have the liberty, and I get to go out and make my movies. And, Aishwarya does the heavy lifting with Aaradhya, and she's amazing. And selfless, which is, I find it amazing. Just mothers in general, I don't think fathers have the ability to be as giving, because maybe we're wired differently. We're more about going out and we have to do something, we have to work, we're very goal-oriented. And to be able to prioritize and say, no, this is my baby and this is the top priority for me, I think is amazing. It's a gift, and that's why possibly we're also, our go-to people on earth are our mothers.
That's true.
Because no matter what, mom is always going to be there. And it holds true for me till date. My mom is 76. I'm 48, 49. And, you just know that, that's your comfort for every child. And no matter how old you are, to your mother and to your parent, you're always going to be a baby. So in terms of her, yes, absolutely, credit has to go entirely to Aishwarya. But I think today's generation is far more informed. My generation had the liberty of being more ignorant in these because information wasn't as readily accessible.
There's more access.
Yeah, there's a lot more access. I mean, she's not on any social media and doesn't have a phone also. But I think she's been brought up to be a very conscientious girl. And I think that's also a testimony to her individually. I don't want to take anything away from what she is personally. So she is who she is. She's turning out to be a wonderful little lady.
That she is.
She's the pride and joy of the family, and yeah, we're blessed. At the end of the day, Nayan, at the end of the day, what you also realize with time is happiness is coming home to a happy and a healthy family. That's so important.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. Not many people actually know that during COVID you actually got affected the most when you talk about health.
Yeah, I was in hospital. Yeah, I was there for almost a month.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. So mom is here. Mom was with me that time during COVID. I think there was a second wave, if I'm not mistaken.
No, mine was the first wave.
First wave. She was here with me in Bombay. We had to come for something and she got to know. And in the middle of everything, my mother said, "Can you just check? Can you just check?" Because at that point, nobody knew much about the...
Yeah, it was very early.
And I remember that I used to... Aishwarya ma'am will tell you this. I used to constantly... She was out of it. A little earlier, I think.
Yeah.
I used to constantly check.
Oh, how sweet. Thank you.
How are you? And so good that you said that because health is so important. Like, I'm constantly worried about my family, everybody, including my niece and their health and everything, because it's become such a big discussion. If you look at the last few films, you are only working with kids. Like there are,
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I'm glad
but
you asked.
But you've always been a very kids person.
Yeah,
Do you
I think.
remember the first time you met me?
No.
Can I remind you?
Yes, please.
This clumsy teenager who had come to
Last
meet you
year,
in Inox, South City. We had come for an idea event.
Okay.
Like you were endorsing idea.
Right.
Club,
Yeah.
And you had come and they were making people dance and they picked me up and we have danced on Kajrare.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I still have the picture. And you know what happened? While dancing, I fell.
Oh, gosh.
And you rushed to me and picked me up and then we've danced together. So it was a challenge between all five of us and whoever wins. I won. Thanks. But gets a picture with you. But I actually got it because you came from the side and you just picked me up. I think you've always been great with kids because even with Navya and Agastya,
yes,
they're like friends to you. And today you're working a lot.
No,
with
they're
kids.
not friends to me. They were my nephew and niece, and now they're like parents to me. They're only telling me what to do, how to do, when to do. And now I can't even pull rank that Mamu has said this. They're both adults, Just now at lunch, Navya, I'll just tell you, now they tell me what to do. Agastya is my Zen master. If I need advice today, I go to Agastya.
Yeah, it's very...
He's amazing. How sorted that child is. It's fantastic. But it's so nice. I speak to my sister sometimes and I say, I was one of the first to hold these two when they were born. They used to fit like this. And I tell Aaradhya that also. I remember the night she was born, she used to literally fit on my forearm. Her head was in like that. And to see these guys, they've become giants now. Aaradhya is taller than Aishwarya. Agastya is almost my height. Navya is just a wonderful little lady and they're doing such wonderful things. They're so sorted, they're so grounded. And credit to my sister for, for the upbringing, to her and Nikki for the upbringing they've given. But it's such a pleasure to have them. And yeah, I'm very, very lucky.
Do you enjoy the energy of kids around you?
Yes. But I think, this whole thing, coming back to your question, because evidently through this interview you realize I'm the king of digressing. But I think it was just that phase for maybe Ludo. This is my first time I worked with Inayat. Ludo.
I want to talk. Breathe. I want to talk also.
नहीं उसके पहले Bob.
Bob Biswas.
Bob Biswas. Then obviously I Want to Talk, Be Happy, Kaalidhar Laapata. Yeah, that's got 8 films. Maybe that's just what I was feeling at that point in time. I think Aaradhya was also growing up. She 3-4 years old. I don't know, maybe because I was away so often, that was, you get, maybe just, like I said in the start, we're saying, that's just what you get drawn to because that's a phase of life you're going through. You get drawn to that kind of stuff. So those subjects emotionally connect with you.
Finally, I would ask you that when you see the trailer of Kaalidhar Laapata, there's a part where the child, who's the full force of joy, asks you for options. What do you wish to do in life? What are your unfulfilled desires? If I ask you not desires, but what are your 3 wishes that you wish to fulfill yourself or wish to see fulfilled in the next 20 years?
There are too many.
Tell me any.
And I don't like to talk about it. Because I feel if you talk about it, it doesn't happen.
So when it happens, and if you're doing
I'll tell you.
If you're doing an interview right
No,
after,
not an interview, I'll message you and tell you.
Done.
Maybe when we go to your home and your mom cooks kosha mangsho for us.
Are you saying this on camera? You know they are gonna take you literally that you're coming home.
No, the problem is I will come.
Please come.
I'll be very happy.
Please come.
Auntie, not tomorrow. In Kolkata.
Kolkata, you'll come? You'll come to Kolkata?
Yeah. When I'm there, I'll come. But then you have to feed me. Okay.
You have to feed him, he said. Are
Yeah.
you feeding?
Now, whether I come home or you come to where I am, but you have to feed.
Done.
Okay, done.
But AB, thank you for being you. I know that it's not about the number of years or the success that you see in life, but you've been this person even before you started. Everybody who knew you before you actually became an actor still speak about you with fondness. And I know that till the last day of my life and possibly my next few generations who will get to see or hear about you from me and from my mum and from my sister and from everybody in the family, they will only get to hear of you fondly. You're a brilliant, brilliant artist. The world is seeing it, respecting it even more today. I will send you the comments again. But more than that, I will always take away that whenever I have had a conversation with you, my heart has felt only warmer because of the warmth that you actually gave me all the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And what I will say to you, Nan, is about 20 years ago in Bluff Master, there was a bit of a blunder of mine, which is called Right Here, Right Now. It's a song I did. I gave a very, very personal message to a very, very dear friend of mine at the end of that song. His name is Uday Chopra. And I, at the end of the song, say, you see, Uday Chopra, you see, keep running, homeboy. Because that was an advice Shah Rukh gave us. That in life, there are two kinds of actors. There are actors that are running because they're being chased by dogs. So they're running to save their life. And there are other actors who run because they just love running. Be the latter. Do it because you just love it.
Yes.
Right? So I told Uday, keep running, homeboy. So today I'll tell you, Nayan, keep dancing, homeboy. Be yourself and just enjoy it. And if somebody doesn't like it, they don't deserve to be in your life.
Thank you so much. I will start crying now, but before I start crying, can I just give you a hug?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
Thank you for this. This genuinely felt like a warm hug. Yay. All the best for everything you do. Sometimes what I write may come from a place of personal bias because there's so much love. You cannot keep the bias aside. But sometimes what I say is genuinely what people would feel about you without any bias. And I write that this is without bias. But happily biased towards a person like you for life.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. So nice. Felt so good. Was it good? You tell me.